The Trump administration is trying to reduce the number of employment authorization documents, also known as work permits, that immigrants are entitled to. So in addition to like canceling parole programs and TPS, which allowed immigrants to get work permits, there have been other key things that they recently did that aren't getting as much attention. One of them, and I've done a bunch of videos on this, but a lot of immigrants don't even know this program exists, is for Special Immigrant Juveniles. These are children who are under the age of 21 who've been abandoned, neglected, or abused by at least one parent. In many states, it's an easy way for the immigrant child to be on a pathway to permanent residence. And actually, we handle a ton of these cases in the New York area. And under the Biden administration, once the petition gets approved, we ordinarily still need to wait a couple years for the green card to become available because there's a visa backlog in the EB4 category. But once the petition, the underlying petition, gets approved, the respondent, the child, would get a deferred action determination, which is basically a letter from the Department of Homeland Security saying, we won't deport you while you have deferred action, and simultaneously they could get an employment authorization document. But there was recently a change that says no more deferred action for these kids who are eligible for Special Immigrant Juvenile Status, and no more work permits. Even if they previously had deferred action, the government will not approve future work permit applications for these Special Immigrant Juveniles. So that's one major change. Another major change that has not yet taken effect, and actually I hesitate to call it a major change because there's almost no reporting on this aside from immigration attorneys, is we do expect in the near future, I would say sometime before the end of the year, I could be wrong, but that's my guess, that asylum applicants are gonna have a harder time getting work permits. Under Trump's last term, the first time he was president, he extended the 180-day EAD asylum clock rule to be 1 year. So basically, instead of being eligible for a work permit 180 days after you submit your asylum application, you would have to wait 1 year. And we're expecting something similar to go into effect during this presidency. Hopefully, it only becomes 1 year and not just, canceled altogether, because that is also a real possibility. Anyway, just to summarize, the EADs for kids who have Special Immigrant Juvenile Status are going away. If you already have one, it will remain effective until it expires, and then you won't be able to renew one if Trump is still president at that time. But the second category, asylum applicants, this is speculative. This is just based on what I've heard that's going on amongst USCIS officers and immigration attorneys, and based on what happened last time. This hasn't gone into effect yet. There's no official notices regarding this, but just giving you guys a warning that if you are dependent on asylum and you've recently filed or you're about to file and you're hoping that you'll get your work permit in 6 months, you might, but you also might not, so keep that in mind. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. If you're interested in learning more about family-based immigration, naturalization, or changes to immigration policy under Trump, be sure to subscribe. If you personally need any assistance with the family-based immigration matter, or you just want to talk to a lawyer to see what the situation is with your case, get some advice without needing to hire an attorney, you could also schedule a consultation directly with me. I would love to speak to you about your case. All right, I'll see you next time for another video.